Yeah, like,
That's why I wanted to say it.
okay,
But the challenge I have is
we are live already. We are live. So we can start.
wow, good to be with you all. We'd like to say a very wonderful, if you're in Nigeria, we say good evening to you. And wherever part of the world you are, we welcome you to this powerful webinar. My wife too is here with me. We've been looking forward to having this wonderful time with you all. You want to say something?
Yes, I would just like to say thank you all so much for joining us in this webinar. We've been looking forward to having this for a while now, and we're happy that we're here, we're live. Thank you so much for registering for this webinar. We know that you all registered from different parts of the world. When we saw the list, we saw people from Australia, from America, from Lagos, Ibadan, from Canada, from every part of the world, and we just want you to know that we appreciate you for joining us in this webinar. We pray and know that at the end of this webinar you would have gained a whole lot. So don't go nowhere. Make sure that as you have started with us, that you ensure that you see this to the very end. And we're going to be talking about so many things today. So
yeah, we
invite your friends to.
We call this introduction to making your marriage work. We believe that there are so many things that makes a good marriage. So we're going to be sharing from our experience as married counselors and as husband and wife. And we're also going to be sharing from some of the things that we have seen and we know can work for you. Please, I'd like you to, like my wife said, we'd like you to just please make sure that you're watching uninterruptedly so that you can be fully part of this. Don't let anything distract you. There's so much that you'll be learning in the next few minutes. Now, the introduction to making your marriage work. I like us to start from the point of Proverbs 18:22. Say, he who has found a wife found a good thing and has obtained favor from the Lord. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. So that means you see, it starts from you finding a husband or finding a wife. You cannot have a marriage until you have been able to find the right person. A good marriage for that matter. Now, I like the way one of the translations put it. He said, find a good spouse, you find a good life. He said, and even more, the favor of God. I mean, that tells it all. If you find a good husband, you have found a good life.
In fact, I like that scripture so much. And for anyone out there who has become so used to that scripture, I want you to think deep, the reverse of that scripture, that he who finds a good wife, as he who finds a wife has found a good thing and has obtained favor from God. So he who does not find a good wife has not found a good thing and does not obtain favor from God.
Yeah.
I like this translation.
Yeah, he said find a good spouse. He said you find a good life.
So if you don't find a good spouse,
right,
then you don't enjoy a good life. So it's a major decision.
So I want us to look at it, see, because sometimes it starts from there. That's the foundation. It starts from the kind of choice you have made. And somebody now said, if I've made a wrong choice, how do I go about it? Well, if two of you are ready to work together and make it work, I'm telling you, there is nobody that is permanently a demon or evil. You know, people change. People get to a point in their life, they begin to see that, look, I think I'm following the wrong path. I need to move in the right path. So then again, one of the foundation I like us introduction I want us to make, one of the things I want us to use to start is marriage is not just a physical thing, it's also a spiritual thing. Because you see, we only see marriage from the physical angle. oh, I just need a partner, I want somebody who can live and spend the rest of our life together. Or is marriage is far, far more than that. It's also very spiritual. That's why I like that translation that says, find a good wife. He said, find a good life.
In fact, you can't afford to be careless with your choice, because and you can't afford to be sentimental when it comes to the choice of spouse that you intend to spend the rest of your life with, because emotions are liable to change. If your choice is based on romance, romantic feelings are liable to change. So you need to be very, very deliberate. And if peradventure you already made a choice and you've dabbled with it and you feel it's a wrong choice, there's hope for you.
Yeah, there's hope for you. Now, but let's look at it from the angle of somebody that is just trying to settle down, trying to get married. You see, there are few things that are very essential. That if you, because you see, marriage becomes easier. Now, the journey is not really an easy journey, but it becomes a little easy when you found the right, when you have made the right choice. You see, making the right choice is key. The Bible says, if the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? Proverbs Psalm 11 verse 3. The foundation is important, and the foundation starts from the choice you have made, and your both of you, the perspective you share about marriage. So I like us to talk about that choice. How do I make the right choice? What kind of choice am I making? Now, one of the things I've come to realize is that most times people just want to get married. I think there are a few questions you need to ask yourself. You need to understand where you are going yourself. You cannot start a journey with someone if you don't know where you want to go yourself.
In fact, most people need to first know who they are. You need to know who you are, because who you are should determine the kind of person you want to spend the rest of your life with. There's this illustration that I usually share with a lot of people, that it is okay for a bird to be in love with a fish. But when you are going into that relationship, you need to first ask yourself, if we end up getting married, where will the couple, now the bird and the fish, where will they live? Is it in the ocean or in the sea where the bird cannot survive, or in the sky where the fish cannot survive? So you need to first know who you are and know where you're going, and know if these two blends together before you now make that decision, and of course seek counsel from the Holy Spirit. And
that's why marriage is not for somebody who is immature. So marriage is for mature people. He said a man will leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife. He didn't say a boy will leave his father and his mother. So it's not for boys. Marriage is for men, marriage is for women. And when we talk about being grown up, being mature, we're not just necessarily talking about the number, age in terms of number, in terms of understanding your purpose, understanding who you are, understanding where you are heading to, where do you want to, how do you want to spend your life, what do you think is God's plan and purpose for your life, who are you, where are you going, what do you want out of life? These are very fundamental questions that quite a lot of people don't answer. And because they don't answer that question, they're just looking for a spouse, they're just looking for a wife, or looking for a husband.
In fact, some people are just looking for a retirement plan. You hear people say things like, I just want to get married to a rich man. At least let me just be in a comfortable house. And I want to ask you, what is your purpose in life? Is it just having a retirement plan, or getting married to a rich man, or getting married to a rich woman? Is that your purpose? Is that the only reason why God has created you? And then we also need to let people know that marriage is honorable, but it takes two people who are ready to sacrifice so many things to make it work. Like my husband will always say that we all are just managing ourselves. Right? Nobody is perfect, and nobody is. And
we're not trying to scare you. We're just trying to be very real. That look, marriage is not. It's not as easy as the Nollywood or Hollywood paints it. You see, it's practical. It's, in fact, when you get married, it will test everything in your life. Marriage will test your patience. Marriage will test your tolerance, capacity. Marriage will test your maturity. Marriage will test everything. How disciplined you are. And you see, and it's a journey. It's a lifetime journey. It's not like a journey of 5-7 years.
You know, it's not like, I want to check out of this marriage. No, I'm tired.
No, you see, and you know, that's the problem of our generation. We do not have the right definition for marriage. We think marriage is just something that I go into. If I like it, I stay. If I don't like it, I leave. Marriage is not like that. Because if that's the way it is from the beginning, then the world will be in bigger confusion than this. Already there is a lot of confusion, but it's going to be a much bigger confusion. So marriage is for two people who know where they are going, who people who have established their destination before the journey. You don't start a journey and in the middle of the journey you're not asking yourself, where are we going? No. Before you leave your house, you have to define, where are we heading to? Where am I heading to? When you define where you are heading to, then you'll be sure if the person you're trying to date, or if that person fit perfect. If that person does not fit, there is no point going into marriage when that area has not been settled.
In fact, what we're discussing right now is very, very key, and is one of the most important fundamentals, because who you're married to determines the success in your life. When you miss it, sometimes it gives you, in fact, most of the time, it sets you back years far behind those who got it right. I don't know why I keep talking to those who did not get it right, but I just know that there is hope for you. There is a solution.
There is hope for you. Then again, let me say this. Every one of us, our focus is more on, I want to get married to a good woman. If he's a man, I want to get married to a good man. But one of the things that we need to pay attention to is not even about the spouse alone. You see how good, you see what the qualities you want. Do you have it too? Because you attract your likes. Likes beget like. Like attracts like. If you don't begin to, I want a man that is very patient, very friendly, very generous. Do you have all these qualities you are talking about?
In fact, the question I want to ask you is, if you were not you, would you marry you?
Yeah.
If you come across a you,
question.
Another Sumbo, and I'm a guy right now, would I marry that Sumbo? You need to first ask yourself, am I the quality of the spouse I'm expecting to be attracted to? You need to work on your person. You need to work on your character. You need to be marriage ready.
Then you also need to be happy. You see, to have a happy marriage, you have to be happy before being married. If you're not a happy individual, happy single, you see, it will be difficult for you to get into marriage and expect your spouse to make you happy. So marriage becomes easier when, before you get into it, you're happy, you're fulfilled, you know where you are going. Now, you may not be rich, you may not have plenty money, but at least you know where you are heading to, and you are a happy person. Now, that helps you. When you now bring another person into your life, it becomes much easier for that person to cope with you.
I want to talk about this area of purpose, and I want to use the example of two people with two different expectations. Now you have an ambitious woman and a man who also does a 9-to-5. Both of them coming to marry one another, and then they're already married, and the expectation of the man is to have a wife who would make his dinner ready by 6 p.m. or who cook lunch by 2 p.m. and make sure that the children have eaten, who will do pick up and drop off. And then he gets married to a woman who is ambitious, who peradventure is she's already at work from like 7 a.m. and she's still at work till like 7 p.m. In fact, just talking about that story, you already know that that marriage has a fundamental problem. Because both of them would always be at loggerhead, they would always have clashes, because the man's expectation is that he'll get home and then the wife will welcome him and then he'll eat dinner. There's nothing wrong with the expectation of the man. Neither is there anything wrong with a woman who is ambitious. However, their marriage is wrong, because first and foremost, they need to first discuss what's your expectation when it comes to marriage. I
remember when we were dating, when we started dating, I asked my wife one day, I said, what's your definition of marriage? Now, because I feel that you need to understand what the other person, how the other person view marriage. We don't have the same definition of marriage. You see, and what I wanted to know then was to be sure
that we are not in mismatch.
That we are not in mismatch, that we don't have different definition. And I remember that day you were telling me that, well, you want to be happy, that you want to be married and be married forever.
I remember telling you that I had so much love to give. I just want someone that is going to be mine, someone that I can feel free to pour all this love to.
I remember you said that, look, I have so much love to give. I want somebody that will be willing to receive that kind of love, and that will not feel like it's too much or something. And I remember that before she said that, while I was praying to, I remember that I was telling God that I wanted, apart from what I'm believing that I'm going to love my wife, I also want someone who's going to love me. In fact, I remember then I said in one of my prayers, I want someone who will love me so much that I can't rest. I can't say I'm running out of love
And
or something.
I love you so much.
Thank you so much. So
I hope you know that.
I know. And so that makes it easier.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it easier when you have similar definition
Yes.
of love. So I want to advise those who are dating or those who are about those who soon start dating. Those are part of the things that you need to know. You see, we jump into marriage in our days. We don't do our findings properly. We don't start with friendship. We don't. In fact, in the Christendom, people just walk up to a sister or brother and say, "Look, God spoke to me." For me, those things, you see, those things are not working. Those kind of arrangements don't work. Yeah, God has spoken to you. Nobody's doubting that. But you see, God is not going to bring kerosene and water together. God is not going to do that. God is not going to start what will not work. God is going to bring in what is going to work. God will want God wants all marriages to be peaceful, to be full of joy, full of peace. And you see, that's what God wants. You see, when God created in Genesis, everything that God created was very good. So God wants marriage to be very
In fact,
good.
I like what you said about people going into marriage because they want to be happy, because they want this.
Or
because
somebody
they
is
want
going to
that.
make them happy.
Yes. You need to be happy as a person, because marriage is like an empty box. It is whatever you put into it, whatever you invest into it, that you meet. If every day in that marriage you put a lot of love, you put joy and happiness, each time you look into your marriage, what you see is joy, love, and happiness. Of course, the foundation of your marriage should be based on God, who is like the third party, but not the third party in the real sense, but is the foundation of your marriage and is the one who oversees your life and all of that. So when you put in God, when you put in joy, when you put in happiness and lots of love, every time you look into your marriage life, what you see in it is joy, love, happiness, and all of that.
And don't be pressured into marriage. You see, if maybe for instance you're a lady and you discover that nobody is coming yet,
Or age is not
or
on
age
your
is not on your
side.
side or something. You see, yeah, I know that could bring a little pressure, especially from our society.
Oh, baby, there's nothing like age is not on your side.
Yeah.
There's a time for everybody. The fact that somebody gets married at 20 does not mean that those who get married at over
That's
30
true.
or 40
Because
are not
God has
marriageable
different plans
age.
for all of us.
Yes, like people in the north, a lot of them get married really
As
early.
teenagers.
I mean, and so people in the West, some of them get married from 25 and above. So there's nothing like time is not on my side. Why don't you ask God and say, God, what is the perfect time that you have destined for me to go on this marital journey?
And why am I waiting? Because
Mhm.
sometimes while we are waiting, God expects us to work on some things.
God is working in
Uh-huh.
us, both to
Maybe-
will and to do for His good
Maybe there
pleasure.
are things going on in your life God wants to stabilize.
Yes.
God may want to stabilize your finance as a man.
Mm.
As a woman, God may want to stabilize your career. God may want to stabilize your character or whatever. You see, but God will not leave you waiting in vain.
Yes.
That waiting period should be a time to look inward and begin to work on yourself.
Mhm.
If you want to marry a king, you have to be a queen. If you want to marry a queen, you have to be a king. And so that's what I want, and I start working on myself. And I like what you said. Then I start working on how tolerant am I. Because let me tell you the truth, you're going to be married for a very long time.
Forever.
And you are going to be at each other's face forever. And the person you are dating or you're getting married to is not perfect. Just like we are not perfect. In fact, there is no perfect marriage because there are no perfect individuals. So what we have two imperfect people who have grown to a point where they are going towards the same direction and they're ready to tolerate their imperfections.
Yes.
So these are very fundamental issues. These are very fundamental issues.
Yes,
These
I really want to talk to anybody out there, because it's easy for us to talk about this because we're married. I know there's someone out there who is pressured right now, who is saying that time is no longer on my side. I want you to know that God Almighty, who has begun a good work in you during this waiting season, He will perfect it. And I want you to know that you may feel like, God has abandoned me. He can't abandon you,
That's
obviously, and He can't abandon the good work He has started in you. God finishes to start. So if you see there's hope, it may not look like there's hope for you right now, but I want you to keep waiting. And while waiting, believe that God who has started a good work in you will complete it. Because you also, while waiting, you need to ask God, what are you teaching me during this season? What am I supposed to be working on? It could just be the way you relate. It could just be your patience level. It could just be your character. character. It could just
Your
be
career.
that the person who is supposed to be married to you needs to be worked on. So thank God in advance. While waiting, just keep thanking God, believing that He will perfect that which He has started in your marital journey.
Then there is something that I tell people. You see, at that waiting period, understand this: God has a plan for your life. There is nobody that God does not have a plan for.
Yes.
He said there is a plan that I have for you. It's a plan of good, not of evil. God has a good plan for you. So while you're waiting, all your friends are married. Don't ever look at yourself like you are disadvantaged. No. Look at yourself like someone that God has reserved the best for. Someone that God is preparing for something great, something better, something that all eyes have not seen or ear heard. So when you see yourself from that angle and submit to the will of God for your life. You see, there was a point in my life that I understood at a point that, look, every one of us must submit to the will of God. We must know that, look, the plan you have for me can't be the same plan you have for my friends. And my friends, the plan you have for my friends can't be the plan you have for me. And I don't care if the plan you have for me is not like the plans you have for my friends. I just want your will to stand in my life. I'm not just saying I want to be married. No, let your will stand. That's important because it's not how far you have gone. It's how well the journey is. I've seen people, as a pastor, I've counseled people, I've met people, I've had people jump into a marriage and jump out of the marriage because it's not part of God's program for their lives. So sometimes we go through so much heartbreak because we're not ready to submit to the will and the purpose of God for our lives.
And for anyone out there who right now, you know that you're hurting, you know from your past relationship you're still hurting and you haven't healed, please wait a while. Be healed, be restored before you jump into another relationship. You need to first be healed so that the next person who is going to be joined with you would not be the one you're going to pour all that aggression into. And then you need to know that the choices you make you. So be very, very careful about the choices that you make or the choice you're about to make right now. I as an event planner, we plan parties, and sometimes even at the wedding, we see certain things and we're wondering, like, where's the connection? You see the families are so happy, and then you see the bride or maybe the husband, they're looking like they're being forced to get married. And sometimes in in just movies generally, you see all of these things and you're wondering, why can't they just give themselves some time before they do all of these things? So please don't be carried away about the ferocity of wedding party and thinking the calendar, it's almost December, my friends are already married, I need to be married. Please don't do that.
And also there's an aspect that is very important. Now, if you look at the wedding between, I call it wedding, between Adam and Eve, God was there to be like the covering.
Yes.
The one between Isaac and his wife, Abraham was there to guide Isaac and to make things happen. Now, I believe that everybody you need a covering. The reason why we have so much divorce in our time is because most of us don't have covering.
And a lot of people are not answerable to anybody.
Most of us marry someone who does not have a covering. You must have a covering, and you must make sure that the person you are getting married to have a covering. I'm talking about a covering in terms of
prophet,
just having a prophet who is praying for you. No, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about having someone you are accountable to, having a mentor, having a pastor, or if you don't want to call it pastor, having someone that you respect, that can advise you, that can call you to order. Let me tell you, when we started dating, I'm sure my wife will remember, the first few weeks we started dating, I gave her the full number of my covering. I told her that this person is my covering and this is his number. Because you see, I don't want to be, because I'm a pastor. I mean, mine is even a little more complex. Because I'm a pastor, I speak to people, I lead people, and if I don't have someone leading me, someone inspiring me, then it's going to be dangerous. Because you see, every one of us, we need what we call circle breaker. Your covering is your circle breaker. Somebody who, when you're about misbehaving,
person can call you to order.
Who the moment you just may have seen the person walking, you know that you need to talk to yourself, you need to reset yourself. Everyone needs that kind of person in their lives. The challenge we have is that if you have a covering and you get married to someone who does not have a covering, it can cause.
Maybe a lot of people are stuck right now because they have issues in their marriage and they don't even know who to go to or who to speak to.
That's
They
right.
don't. When you tell them that, why don't you talk to his mother? Why don't you talk to his father? They go, oh, he doesn't even respect them. He's the breadwinner, so he says whatever he wants, and everybody just suck up to him.
Such a
He
man,
or she
such a man,
must
or such a
have
woman is a
someone.
dangerous person.
Very dangerous.
Someone who the parents can't talk to him, the mom, the dad can't talk to him, his pastor or a man
And
can't
these
talk to him.
handwritings, a lot of people, a lot of times, you see the handwriting on the wall. You see that this person is not answerable to anybody. You baby him and give
Yeah.
him excuses,
Yeah.
excuses after excuses. See, don't try to put together what God has not put together for your life. Because at the end of the day, you just the same way you are putting it together yourself, you run out of it. Because it's going to be a mismatch.
I have also discovered that when you see a marriage with problems, now every marriage have crisis time, but when you see a marriage that is having crisis, unresolved crisis for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9
Because
years,
they're not answerable to anybody.
yeah, if you check it out, they may have someone by mouth, but not by heart. You see, because it's one thing to just say, oh, she's my mentor, oh, he's my mentor, oh, she's my father, oh, he's my parent, he's my mother, oh, she's my mentor or my role model. It's one thing for you inside your heart to submit to that person and let the person know that, look, you can call me to order.
In fact, some couple have had to go to police station, and in my mind, I'm like, why on earth will this take you to this?
Yeah.
There used to be love here before. Where did the love go? What happened?
And the
to-
police can't be your
Police
covering.
can't,
They
you know.
can't be.
And then you see a case of domestic violence in
Yeah.
marriage, and sometimes I wonder, where did the love go?
Yeah.
Where did they go wrong? And then they carry themselves to the police station to go and write statements and all of this, and I'm like, God.
Sorry that I'm talking to men. When a man slaps his wife or slaps his fiancée, you should know that he's not afraid of anybody. Isn't it the fear that, oh, if I slap my wife now, she's going to she may report me to my pastor.
Yes.
And I don't want to stand, or you see, you have to really have someone
That you
who
fear.
has a circle breaker. You see, some of those electronics we buy now, they make sure they attach something to it to control the measure of power that comes
That
in.
goes into it.
Because if there's nothing to control the power that goes in, power can be so much that to destroy the electronics. So, and that's why they say ultimate power destroys ultimately.
Ultimately,
So, nobody should be without covering.
yes.
That's a very strong one. You should make sure you have a covering, and you make sure that whoever, if the person does not have a covering, pray about it and make sure that if the person already have a covering, but you feel that you have a proposal for a better covering, why not work together as a team and make sure that your marriage has.
I like the
has
word you
covering.
just used now. Marriage is teamwork.
Yeah.
It's teamwork. It's not just for one person to keep giving, and the
No.
other person receiving. It has to be both of you coming together to make sure that this thing.
In fact,
is
when
good
you are
works.
coming out, and that's part of the wrong expectation that we have. People are coming into marriage thinking that it's about their wife to make the marriage work, or the woman is thinking it's about my husband to make the marriage work.
In
No.
fact, some people
For marriage-
have nagged their spouse because their expectation is not being met. They're like, I expect you to lead me. As my husband, I expect you to be the covering. I expect you to be the head. I expect you to be the one to raise prayers at night.
Indeed.
No.
Marriage is a
Baby, I
teamwork.
remember when we just got married. As a
Yeah.
single, I used to love to pray alone. I was used to praying alone. I'm not used to praying with somebody in the room. And then when we got married, I remember that sometimes I'll just leave the room.
Yeah.
I'll go to another room to go,
Yeah, right.
and then I'll come back and tell you I went to pray. You'll be like, no, we can pray together. I
That's-
remember the first few weeks or few months, we prayed together because
Yeah.
when we were dating, we used to pray together on
Yeah,
the phone.
yeah.
But now we're now living together.
Yeah.
I used to feel like, it's not
not
genuine
hot
enough.
enough.
Let me go and just
Yeah.
seek the face of my father. You know?
And pray the way I want to
So
pray.
for anyone out there who is chastising their man now that you're not leading me, you're not, please just pray for him.
Work as a team. See, when you
Work as a
see yourself
team.
as a team, then the complaint will be minimal.
Yes.
You see, the moment for
In fact,
instance,
complaining will just chase the man away, and you see him just drifting. You see both of you just drifting apart because all he hears from you all the time is just, I'm not doing enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not.
for instance, I had a man, a pastor actually, many years ago.
Yeah.
I wasn't married then. He was sharing his experience. He said when he got married, whenever it's time for his wife to serve him, the wife would just put food in the plate and bring the plate on one hand and take the water on the other hand and put it in front of him. And he said he wasn't used to that kind of service. He was coming from a place where when they are serving them, they put in a tray, they put everything, the cutleries, and they lift. So, but they have all these things, but the wife wasn't using it. So instead of, you see, when you see each other as a team, you won't get mad at that. You know what he said he did one day? One day, he joined the wife in the kitchen, and when it was time to serve, he brought the tray, he put the
cutleries,
and took it. And the wife said, "Oh, bring it, let me take it for you." He said, "Let me do it too." Then the wife saw that this is how this man wants to be served. And they've not even argued about it. They didn't even fight about it.
So if there's any lapse that you see or your expectation is not being met, why don't you teach one another?
Work together as a team.
Teach one another. I mean, there's a level of respect the man will give to you if you are willing to teach him. Not like you're rubbing it in his face that it's not good enough, but you
one day you were preaching on this kind of subject, and you talked about a couple who got married, and the wife in their house, they only eat some part of the cow meat. There's a particular part of the cow meat they don't eat in their house. She grew up never seeing her mom cook tongue, for instance, the tongue of a cow. And you told us a story that the man, he is from a family where they eat all the parts. In fact, especially the tongue, they like it. So one day, he told the wife, when you're buying anything for the week, please buy the tongue. So the woman cooked the tongue, and
every other meat.
Like every other meat. I remember you shared the story that she did not remove the back. When you buy the tongue, you have to keep it in the hot boiling water and peel the back. She didn't do that. She just cut it and boiled everything and served. So when it was time for the man to eat, the man saw that there was this hard extra part.
Yes.
So the man did not complain. He managed that. The next time they were buying tongue, he walked into the kitchen and said, "Baby, let me show you how this is done."
Yeah.
See, so the moment you see your spouse as a team member, then you know that the failures of this marriage is our failure. Is our failures. The successes are our successes. So there'll be less complaint, there'll be less fight. I think the issue of seeing each other as a team is very important.
And then I want people to know out there, you need to talk about everything. Talk about everything. Talk about your motives, talk about your compatibility, talk about everything,
especially
your expectation before
marriage.
In fact, when people are dating, I wonder what they are doing dating. These are the periods where you need to talk about everything. Are you an early bird? Are you, do you wake up early? Do you sleep late? Do you like the lights on? Do you like the lights off? Do you prefer to use the duvet? Do you like the AC on? Do you press your toothpaste from the bottom? Do you press it from the middle? These little things can
these things cause this problem.
Do you like to go for vacation? Do you love traveling? Do you like when I'm on the phone with people? Do you, do we go out? Do we not go? When do you want to have a baby? Are we having baby instantly? Are we to wait and prepare for the baby? How many babies are we having? All of this. You prayerfully, you discuss first, and then you take it to God in prayer to bless all of your plans, because you need to have a plan before even stepping into that territory called marriage.
There's an aspect I also want us to talk about, especially for those who are about to start, this is introduction to making marriage work.
Yes.
So I want
in fact, if they don't get it right, there's no marriage that is working anyway.
That is defining your relationships. I've come to realize that many young people now, they just have different opposite sex in their lives. You cannot call them boyfriends alone. You cannot call them fiancé, or they're just hanging out every evening. The guy is not talking about marriage, and they kept hanging out together all the time. They talk on phone all the time. I think for mature people, don't get into a relationship for too long without defining
it from the beginning.
What's this all about? Are we just friends? Are we just business partners? What are we doing? Because you see, especially for ladies, people waste. You see, we don't know. We waste our times not even knowing in all these kind of relationships. You're in a relationship 5, 6, 7 years. No, but you're not talking about marriage.
Ask from the beginning, where is this ending? Because there's no point using me as rehearsals when you know we're not going to end.
Most ladies have been used for rehearsals, and the real thing now is coming. It's like time is going. So if you don't want anybody to waste your time, I think define your relationships. Talk about when somebody is getting close to you and when he's talking to you about being friends. Yeah, you can be friends, but what is the motive? Where are we going? where are we going?
Okay,
You
we're
know,
going to be going on a short break and
very
we'll be
soon.
right back.
We'll be
Thank
right
you so
back.
much.
Thank you so much. Please
Don't go anywhere.
We would like to have more time with
Don't
you.
go anywhere.
God bless you.
Thank you. everyone. I hope during the first session you gained something. We're going right into the second session, and Pastor is just going to go right into it.
Yeah, we Titilayo asked us a question. What advice do we give to people that are waiting and have been waiting for a long time? My advice is keep investing into yourself. Keep building that area of your life where things are working. If you're in ministry, keep building that area. If you're in whatever you're doing, get busy doing it and get busy serving God. Get busy fixing your eyes on God, because that's the ultimate. Trust Him completely for your future. Trust Him completely for your marriage. Then bury yourself into serving God, kingdom service. Serve God wholeheartedly. Invest into yourself. Invest into your career. Because the moment you get married, there are many things you want to do but you cannot do. So many people don't know that sometimes singleness can be a blessing. Can be a way of God just trying to help you build, grow more.
Yeah.
So maximize your singleness. Then enjoy your life. At that moment, please don't get moody. Don't let people meet you and your history is written all over you. It's so written over you that you're dealing with something. No man, no woman wants to end their life spend their life with someone who is not happy, who is just waiting for somebody to pour. No, nobody's waiting for a burden. Everybody's looking for a blessing. Nobody's looking for a liability. So keep investing into yourself. I have seen adult ladies, I'm talking about people that are even in their 40s, later getting married. And by the time they were getting married, the husband is so proud of them because they've done so much for themselves. So keep yourself, and please make sure you socialize, because don't let your social life be terminated because you feel attend weddings. Don't say you will not attend weddings, because attend weddings. Be part of, in my own life, there was a time I was waiting for a particular thing in my life, and I waited for about 21 years. And I didn't say, because of that, I'm not going to go in for child dedication. I'm not going to dedicate babies as a pastor. Keep doing what you should do. Live your life as though you're already married. Just be fulfilled living your life. You'll be shocked. Somebody is watching from somewhere who is looking for a fulfilled woman, a happy woman, a happy man like you. And it will just be, and the Bible says God makes all things beautiful in His time.
Beautiful.
In His time. You see, it's not about just getting married. It's about getting married in God's own time. God has His own plan, His own purpose. He has His own time. When it happens in His time, it will be beautiful. I remember a woman that was in her early 40s that we were praying together, and later God blessed her with someone, and that person, how it even happened was funny. She went to visit one of her friends in her office. Now this lady too was building her life, and there's this guy in the office who is doing well for himself too. He has even built his own house, and the families have been saying, look, get married. When are you going to get married? So he just walked into the same office he's been going for a long time, and this guy just saw her and fell in love with her. And when she left, asked the friend, please, I need the number of your friend, blah blah blah. Before you know it, they got married. When they were getting married, family said, they are two, because the guy was in his older singles, she was early 40s, and they said, look, you guys, they even told the guy, they said, you want to get married at 40, almost 45. You are getting married to a woman who is in her early 40s, when you should just go and look for one small girl. We pray you will not have problem having a child. These people have a child immediately after 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah, they got married. The woman got pregnant immediately. They told her again, when it's time to deliver, she may have issue. She did not have any issue. You see, don't let people talk you into what is not your portion. Always embrace what God's word says about you. Don't be carried away with tradition, with all that. The waiting time, it should not be a wasted time. It should be a time to invest into your life and turn your life around, and let the man that is coming meet you and say, wow, or the woman say, wow, you've done so well for yourself.
Yes, I like what Pastor said when he said that while in your waiting season, enjoy your life. Enjoy it to the fullness. Enjoy your singleness. Be happy, be fulfilled. And then if you're a man out there and you're waiting, because usually when we talk about waiting for a spouse, we always address women. There are men who also wait, and if you're a man out there and you're waiting for the right spouse, I want you to, during this waiting season, why don't you check your motives, check your heart, and be sure that you have the right motives to going into marriage. You're not going into marriage because you need someone that will be mommy to you, someone that will wash your clothes, do your dishes. cook your food. Check your motives.
Yeah.
Be sure that you're not just looking for a woman who you will boss over, but a woman who you would allow to fulfill purpose. Or you're not just going into that marriage because you want to marry a virgin. See, there's a difference between a wife and a virgin. The fact that you marry a virgin does not mean you have found a good thing and then you will obtain favor from God. The Bible did not say that he who finds a virgin, even though marriage is honorable when the bed is undefiled.
We're not discouraging virginity.
Yes. So I'm not discouraging virginity. I'm just saying that shouldn't be like the motive, you know. Make sure that he who you have, the one who you have found is the wife, you know. When you see the person should be a wife, okay? Don't go into a relationship wanting to change the woman when you are married or change the man after you are married. Usually it doesn't work that way. In fact, most of the time it's a mismatch.
When you mentioned marrying a virgin, I remember that I was advised when I was thinking about settling down and embracing restoration. I remember I was told that look for a young virgin. And I looked at them and I told them, how long does it take to disvirgin a woman? It doesn't take long, you know. And I said, look, yeah, it's good to, if God has given you a virgin, oh, congratulations. But you see, I told them that my priority is not even that. Top of my priority is that I want a woman who is a wife material. Someone who will love me for who I am, someone that I'm going to love for who she is, someone that's ready to go on this journey with me. That's what you see. So you don't you see, you have to be careful. Some ladies do that too. Oh, I want a broad chest man, 7 feet, and all those things are lovely things. But you see, don't let those things be primary. Let them be secondary. You see, primarily you need a man that is God-fearing. Yes. You need a man that will be a father and a friend to you.
Yes.
You need a man that is going to respect you. You don't need, if somebody has a broad chest and doesn't respect you, what profit does it make? You will, look, let me tell you, for singles especially, by the time you are married for a few months, you see that broad chest does not pay the bills.
At all.
He doesn't pay the bills. You know that the practical things in marriage is even more than that.
You need someone who knows the Lord, who fears the Lord, who references the Lord.
Yeah.
You need someone who is holy both in body and in spirit.
That's part of the covering we're talking about, because we were not talking about somebody who just have a human covering. We also have God as his covering.
And is concerned about the things of the spirit, because usually in life, in your marriage, you'll be faced with trials, tribulation, you'll be tested, and you can hold hands believing that the person that you're married to has the same faith as you. It is easier, you know, when you serve the same God, you understand the things of the spirit. It is easy to hold hands and agree concerning a thing, and you know that the Heavenly Father hears you even in your closet, and he would answer to you, because when 2 or 3 people agree concerning a thing, it is usually easy.
That's true. And see, we also want to, this is an aspect that is also very important. Like I told you, we're doing, what we have now is just introduction. We don't mind if you have more questions on this, because I really want this to be a little interactive. So if you have questions on some of the things we have said, you can type it down. The comment side is there. We're going to make sure that we address it before we close this episode. But please, this is also very, very important. Now, people, when it's time for people to get married, and people start thinking about settling down, or people talk to their friends, they talk to their families. And I have come to realize that in this part of the world, we try to impress other people a lot. So a man is trying to marry, and by the time you ask him, and he's very honest with you, what he wants, it's like he wants to marry someone his mom will like, or someone his friends will like. Excuse me, your mom is not going to spend the rest of her life with your wife. Some ladies too do that. They want to marry someone, their brother, their father, their mom, their friends will say, oh, no, you see, you don't marry for people, you marry for yourself. For yourself.
Who do you like? Who do you want to spend the rest of your life with? Stop
trying to get married and with the mind that you're going to use it to impress somebody else. You have to impress yourself. You are the key person. You are the principal person.
Yes.
You see, the people you are talking about, honestly speaking, in few years, you discover that they are not going to be a major player in the game you're about to play. So you need not to start thinking about, oh, this person I want to marry, how will my friends see him? No, you see, you are beginning to.
In fact, the society has made it really worse for women. Everybody wants a tall, dark, handsome guy. What happens to the guys that are not
remember
tall?
When we were about to marry, somebody told my wife then that, look, you want to marry a pastor? It's not going to work. And she said, why?
So she said, when we hang out, how will Pastor flow? And I'm like, I'm not marrying because of you.
Must we hang out?
Your opinion about who I spend the rest of my life with doesn't really count.
She was
as
like,
long as it's not,
you want to marry a pastor? We didn't marry
as long
anybody
as
like
it's
a
not
pastor.
life-threatening.
Will that pastor you want to marry be able to hang out with her husband? Excuse me.
I asked myself, how many times do I even hang out that I will now base that my decision, the most important decision of my life after accepting God as my personal savior. I will now base that decision on hanging out with friends. If you're out there and you have been basing the decision of your life on, what my friends think, what my parents think, what is trending, please, you need to have a rethink. Check your motives, like we said.
Yeah.
Are you in common union with the same God? These are key things that matter. Are both of you compatible? Do you have the same definition about marriage? Do you see that person in your future?
Does God matter to the person?
Yes, does God matter? Is the person holy both in spirit and in body?
Yeah.
You need to, those are key things to look out for.
Do you know I have met people who sleeps in church but they don't fear God? And I've met people who are busy, but they have so much reverence for God.
In fact, I went for a conference one day, and after everything, we had the question and answer, and a lady stood up and said, yes, Christian sister. She said she's a Christian sister, and she's dating this very spiritual brother, and on her wedding day, she wants to dance to all the worldly songs. What can she do? In my mind, I'm like, you're still a child. Marriage is not about the wedding party. It's about the life after the party. If peradventure you're going to drop the person God has chosen for you as the one who is going to spend the rest of your life with you, and because you can't play worldly song on your wedding day, you're going to drop that person, then you're still a baby. You're still
how many minutes or how many hours of wedding? Marriage is for a lifetime. So what will happen, if I cannot remember all the details of what happened on my wedding day. If the truth is that you can't even know all the details.
And some good girls want to marry bad boys, so broad-chested, this one, that one, so that day they will be hip and up. At the end, during the wedding night, when both of you are now in your closet, your eyes will clear and you realize that it's beyond just the party. The wedding party is maybe 6 hours or 4 hours or 3 hours, and afterwards a lifetime journey begins. That is the most important thing you should use as criteria.
So your decisions should be based on tangible things. Should be based on things that really matters, not minor things. I'm not saying you shouldn't have your likes and dislikes, but let it be secondary. Let it not be in front of major things. Let major things come first. This is very, very important. Now, when we talk about people that are waiting, there's a story that came to my heart. And that's a story of how Abraham got a wife for Isaac. Abraham sent his oldest servant, his most experienced servant, to where his kindred, the country of his kindred, where they can get a wife for Isaac.
Yes.
And when the man got enter into the city, he wanted to give water to his camel and give water and drink water too. So he went straight to the well first. Now, you all know that in those days, you find female coming with their gallons to fetch water and all that. So he met so many ladies and he said he wanted to feed. Now, Rebecca responded by helping to get water for his camels. Now, each camel, according to experts, when it's time for camel to drink water after a long journey, each camel takes as much as 20 gallons of water. So what Rebecca did that day was that she gave close to about 40 gallons of water.
That's exceptional.
And while she was doing that, she didn't know that the man she was doing that, although the man she was doing that to cannot marry her, this is an old man. But this man is the link to the man that will marry her. So you don't even know the link to your wife, you don't know the link to your husband. So be prepared every day. Be that good wife material. Be that good husband material. Be that person that will speak in the public and everybody will say, wow. Be that person that will manage crisis in a way, manage difficult customers, and everybody will say, wow. Be that person. See, the moment you be that, you are that person, you will attract
Be
the right
kind
person.
to everybody.
That's
Don't
right.
judge people by their status
Yeah.
or by the money in their accounts.
Yeah.
Be nice to the janitor, be
Mhm.
nice to the domestic staff, be nice to the gate man, be
Mhm.
nice to your boss.
Mhm.
Don't put up an attitude that you really do not want people to attach to you as a person, and don't throw caution to the wind anywhere you are, because you don't even know who is watching or what the criteria is or the link, like Pastor just said, to who God has destined to be your spouse for the rest of your life.
And you see, when you said be careful that you don't, I remember the story of a young man. When he was working in a construction company, he was very nice to the driver of his boss. Now he stays late in the office, and the driver of his boss sometimes too stays very late because of Oga. Sometimes the driver of the boss will drop the boss and come back to the office, maybe to drop the car or something, I don't know. So he will still meet this guy. So most of the time they live together. And sometimes this guy does not even have enough money he wants to trek a part of the journey. So this guy will pay for his transport, was nice to him. After a while, he resigned from that company and moved to another company. And he was working there. He told me this story by himself. And what happened was that he was believing God for something bigger than where he went to, but it was a little better, so he stayed there. Now what happened was that this guy the driver left the Oga and went to another company that was just coming into the country, and he was doing well. One day they were looking for someone who can do the kind of things he does, a survey or something like that. And this driver just recommended him. And this young man told me that for the first time in his life, he handled a job and made over almost 30 million naira profit. Yeah, and bought his first property from there. And he could not just believe that this whole thing came from a driver. So please get ready. You want to get married and be happy. Be that person that someone can be with and be happy, and start living that life. He that finds a good wife, that's what the Bible said, has found a good thing and has obtained favor from the Lord. He didn't say he that finds a good woman, he said a good wife. You know, it didn't say he that finds a good lady, a good wife. So be that you are a wife material, you are a husband material. This is very important. This is not just limited to women alone, because we always think that it is a woman that should prepare for. You as a man too, you have to be a good husband material.
I know a lot of men out there want to marry this woman, the Proverbs 31 woman. But are you prepared to be the kind of husband that can marry
to be the husband,
the Proverbs 31 woman?
Yeah.
Because this woman, our husband is honored in the city gates. This woman sees land and she buys it. Are you the type of man that will be comfortable with your wife building assets, buying landed property? Would you still be intimidated by her greatness? Would you be that kind of man that would not want the wife to be wealthy because you feel she will now become arrogant or she will be more powerful than you? There are men out there who marry powerful women and they are happily married. Those are the type of men that suits to marry such kind of women. Don't go marry a doctor, a single doctor, if you know that you cannot stand your wife going on call during the middle of the night. Don't marry her and then keep her at home. You marry a woman who already has a vision for her life, a purpose for her life. You see her thriving, you are happy. You tell all your friends, I'm dating a doctor, we're getting married, and then she gets married to you. Then you are telling her she should stop and open a shop in the house so she can take care of the children. No. You need to ask yourself, would you marry you if you were you? Would you marry you? What are those things that won't make you marry you? Write out those qualities.
I'm happy this is coming from a woman, coming from my wife. You see, the men, we men want a good woman, a church girl. You know, I've had guys talk about the kind of wife they want, a church girl who is straightforward, honest, and the rest. Are you ready to keep that kind of a woman? Are you ready? Because you see, to marry such a woman, you have to be the husband of that kind of a woman.
Yes.
You cannot continue to live in your own kind of life and expect to have a wife with the kind of life that you want. And you see, sometimes we contradict ourselves.
Some men want church girl, but they are still going to club. How do you expect a church girl who will be on her bed in the night, on Friday nights, and expects her husband to be by her side, or they should hold hands and pray, and you say you are going to club?
From my experience, what end up happening is that this church girl you marry while you are now living the life you are living, she end up not living like a church girl again. You see, what men have not realized is that we are the head of the family, we are the leader. And when the Bible says we are the leader, that means we are servant leaders. That means we should lead by example. You know, you have to lead by example. You have to be the kind of spouse you want. That's what you should become. You want a prayerful wife, be a prayerful husband. You want a God-fearing husband, be a God-fearing woman.
Yes.
That's how it is. That's how it works. You see, even if you cajole a God-fearing man or a God-fearing woman into your life, and you are not God-fearing, you may lose that marriage.
You want to
may
marry
not enjoy that
a
man.
queen, be a king.
Be a king.
Package
That's
yourself
how it
like
works.
one.
That's how it works. Because see, you can quickly cajole someone into getting married to you if it's a woman or a man. Marriage is an everlasting
People
journey.
have this unrealistic expectation when it comes to women. She must have figure 8, she must this, she must that. Then you get married and you are adding weight. Your tummy is becoming big,
Oh
and
my
you expect
God.
her to remain the same way. See, stop putting pressure
On your wife,
on your
spouse.
Stop
You see,
it.
don't put unnecessary pressure on your spouse. There are many people that are married today. They are under pressure because of their spouse. Because their spouse wants them to be like Queen Elizabeth overnight. You see, the woman you want your wife to become, or the man you want your husband to become, they've been in that game for a while. Give your spouse enough time to evolve into what you want them to be.
Exactly.
Don't be in a hurry.
Invest in your spouse.
And invest in your
See,
spouse.
there's nothing wrong if you are the one who knows what. Okay, you have a plan as the head of the family, and you say this is where we are headed, and eventually your wife. Now, let me use the women as an example. She's not leveling up. Help her level up, so that when both of you can hold up a conversation. I've seen a lot of men invest in their spouse while they are dating. Oh, you want her to be a graduate? Encourage her to go to school. You're already married and you want him to be a graduate, so that you can hold up conversations, you can have meaningful conversations, and you can think forward together. Invest in your man. Let him go for courses. Don't be the one that will now say, oh, the little money you are making, we want to fly to Dubai, we want to fly to this. No, to have a plan in your marriage. This is what we're planning for this year. This is what we're planning for next year. We're saving towards this, we're saving towards that. This is the goal. Let's do this now. Then babies can come later. Have a plan. Just make sure that you're working together
I have
as a
come to
team.
realize that works where the two people are communicating.
Yes.
That doesn't work where they don't communicate. In most marriages, people don't talk. I'm a marriage counselor and I know what I'm talking about. People don't talk. People just have plans and they are not communicating their plans.
Yes.
And so everybody is building apart
Hey.
and growing apart.
And it's
And
even
after a
more
while-
costly. You spend more when you build apart, but
No,
when
you
you
spend
bring
more.
your resources together as
you
a
make
whole.
more impact. So,
Yes.
so most men and women that are married,
One will
just
chase 1,000,
two will put 10,000 to
10,000
flight
to fly,
when
so
you
that-
bring your resources together. So
Teamwork really
it's better
plays
for
in
you
marriage.
to communicate your plans, communicate your vision. Make sure that you talk from time to time. These are my plans, these are my expectations, these are the things I want to do. Now, I want to bring this is going to be for the married people. Now, some people, while they are dating, they invest into their spouse. If, for instance, men, they invest into their girlfriend or fiancé, buy her clothes, send her to school, pay for a course, a professional course for her, go for training, buy a car and all that. Some people, the moment they are married, that stops.
Stop it, yeah.
Then you now see a man who is just growing and he leaves the woman behind. And this same man is not allowing the woman fulfill her vision. You see what I
Over
want?
time, it breeds resentment.
Yeah, what I want us, I want to talk to men in this aspect. You see, you need to understand that your wife is a child of somebody too. And whatever you wish your daughters, if God gives you daughters, you need to begin to wish your wife. You see, nobody wants their daughter to get married to a man and get stalked because of marriage. Nobody wants that.
Yes.
Everybody wants progress for all their kids, whether girl or boy.
Yes.
So you have to also be conscious of that while you're growing, while your businesses are expanding, you're also working hand in hand with your wife to see how she's growing and she's increasing. Let me tell you something.
Ambassador, there are some women that all they just want to, that their major goal in life is to get married. Once they get married, they just settle.
That's a dangerous one. If you're a woman or a man, once you're married, you now depend on your spouse income, you now settle, then you are going to be the problem of that marriage with time. Because number one, depression can set in. Number two, there's no fulfillment. Every man, every woman is born to fulfill their God-given purpose. There's nobody that is being born just to get married.
Yes.
There's nobody that's just being born just to get married. Marriage is not like, you see, we have overrated marriage. I'm telling you, we've really overrated it. We've seen marriage like the end of life. As if once I'm married, that's why you say, I have settled down. Who is? There's nothing like marriage is just the beginning of a new life.
Yes.
It's not like the end of a new life. It's the beginning of a new life. You can't get married and just end everything. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Some women get married, they want to go for a new course or new training or do new things. They just want to sit at home and take care of kids.
Challenging their lives. And
no, you have to stop being that.
Thinking.
If you continue to be like that, that man will outgrow you and you stop being attractive to him.
Fact.
You stop being attractive. Maybe before you got married, you sit down for hours and talk. Now, talking to you may not feel mentally challenged talking to you.
Yes.
So that's why you need to read books. You need to keep growing too. As your mind is growing, you are growing. And there are some men. This is the irony of it, and this is funny. There are men too who get married and settle.
Oh yes.
There are men who get married and see
once
it,
the wife
is doing well and they know that what they have and what the wife has is enough to take care of things. They just settle down. So their wife is striving to be bigger, to be better. They are not striving again because they feel now that is also, you are going to end up being the problem of that marriage because you are even the head of the family. You need to continue to challenge your children, your wife, in terms of growing your capacity and the personal development. You can't afford to remain who you were 5 years ago, 3 years ago, last year, even this year. Your wife, your children must see you taking up bigger challenges. That's so how
you can inspire them to also
because those guys you are raising, they are your future.
Yes.
And it is what they see you, how they see you handle life. That's how they're going to live their lives. So you have to really know. That's why to him that much is given, much is expected. For us men, a lot has been given to us. When God said we are the head, don't let us go back home and throw a party for that. I'm serious. The fact that we are the head does not mean that that we are the head is giving us more responsibility. Yes. Because to him that much is given, much is expected.
Oh, I'm enjoying this
I'm
webinar.
enjoying this so much too. We need your comments. We need to be sure you are enjoying it. We need to be sure you are getting blessed. We need to hear your testimonies. You need to share your testimonies with us. If you can't share it on the comments, you can send it to our email address.
Yes.
We need you to just encourage us with your feedbacks.
And I want you to know that we're going to be having a constant webinar on this topic, making your marriage work. We're going to have series where we'll talk about sex, we'll talk about managing money, we'll talk about in-laws, we're going to be talking about crises, we're going to be talking about quite a number of things, and of course we're going to be shedding more light into a marriage that is like ours. Thank you all so much.
I think that if we have a question that we'd like to attend to.
Okay, or you can also send us WhatsApp messages, or you can email us. You
send us an email.
Follow us on our social media. Yes, we will take questions.
Let's take questions for a few minutes before we close.
Yes.
So you can send in your questions just at the comment.
There's someone here who wants us to talk about those who have made wrong choices of spouse, and the other party is not willing to make it work and doesn't even see his wife as a team. It is really draining when it's just one party doing all the. I'm so sorry about that. When it's all party doing all the giving and loving and the sacrifices, how does one move on?
Wow, this is very, very touching. This is.
I'm so sorry about that.
I know that it's going to be draining for you, especially when you want to be happily married, you want to enjoy your marriage, but you have a partner that is not striving for that. Now, I cannot give you all the answers right now, but I want you to know that number one, I want you to know that there is nothing that is difficult for God to do. And there is nobody that God cannot change. Now, I will not want you to think of leaving that marriage when you have not made an attempt to fix the marriage. Because sometimes some people feel leaving the marriage is the answer. You see, it's not the answer because you've not even made any attempt. Somebody can be really bad today and change tomorrow and be a better person. I think you should make few efforts. Number one, if you're a Christian, I think you need to be identified with a living church, a word-based church. Because you see, in a word-based church, they will have curriculums every year. And if you can encourage him to attend that church with you, there will be one day that I'm sure the pastor will think a word will come in and it will be address your situation. That is one. Secondly, I've seen men drag their feet to follow their wife to church and eventually fall in love with the church even more than the wife. And eventually you can now propose that, don't you think that we need counseling? Don't you think that this marriage can be better than this, and we should just, since this is our church, this is our pastor, don't you think we should talk to our pastor or any of our pastors so that we need help?
I really want to see.
And don't let him feel like he's a problem of the marriage. Don't let him, because the moment a man feels that that's what you think, he will not want to go with you. Let him see how sincere you are, that you want it better, that you even want to be a better person. Now, by the time you get there for counseling, you'll be shocked that you too may pick one or two things that is yours, while you pick some of his own too. So I think it will start from that angle. Then you can also look out for the person he respects. If you know anybody he respects, and you know that person can be trusted, you can talk to that person. And if you, that person who can say, okay, look, I want to see you, guy, I want to see you, let's talk. You know, when you and if you feel he's going to feel bad about you discussing his matter with any other person, now you don't have to make it look like you reported it. Let it look like, look, I just come to a point with this marriage and I feel that we need help. I need help. I need help. And I want us to go to a place where we can be fixed. You see, marriage is sometimes like our natural body. Sometimes this body needs help and we go for help. Sometimes our finances need help and we go to our bankers. So when we have marriage, when our married two needs help, I think we should go for help. So I would advise that you go for help. Now, you need to explore all the possibilities, all the, because if you fix that marriage, that man will be a better person. I have come to realize that when a man or woman has been married and he has fallen here and there, when they get up, they become better people. So I want you to give that man a second chance.
I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry you feel this way in your marriage, and it's a forever journey, but I don't want you to give up on your spouse. I want you to seek counsel, like Pastor said, because nobody starts this forever journey with the aim to not make it work. I'm sure that person has gotten to a point in their life where they do not see any hope, or both of you need to see a counselor, so that by the time they are talking to both of you, each party will pick the one that addresses their situation and work on themselves. Peradventure that person has seen something that maybe breaks their trust or just discourage them from going towards this forever journey. And I want you to pray together. There's nothing God cannot fix. The power to save and set free is in the hand of God Almighty. So, and the heart of the king, the Bible says, is in his hands. He turns it wherever he pleases him. The heart of the queen too is in the Lord's hand, and God can turn it wherever it pleases him. And I know that God is going to turn the heart of your spouse in your favor in the name of Jesus. So don't give up on yourselves. Instead, work on it. Go for counsel, seek a Bible-believing church, belong to a Bible-believing family where both of you can serve God wholeheartedly, and peradventure God will touch your life and He will touch your marriage in Jesus' name.
And I also want to say this for those who are married: don't wait until you have problem. We have this poor maintenance culture in this part of the world. We let things get so bad, totally bad, worn out. If you're watching and your marriage is rosy and things are working for both of you, please don't stop talking. Don't stop rehoiling your marriage. Don't stop going out together, talking, holding hands, showing affections, and talking about what matters to both of you. Don't stop there. Don't wait until everything is totally down.
And when issues come up, address it. Don't let issues now become things that will break your marriage. If your spouse is complaining about your affection towards the opposite sex, or you're you're putting too much attention on a particular person, maybe your colleague in the office, could be somebody in church, opposite sex, or even the same sex. Maybe your spouse is becoming uncomfortable with your closeness. Take that feedback seriously before it gets to the point where such thing breaks your marriage. If your spouse loves sex, both of you should work on it, so that thing will not now cause confusion or break your marriage. Because there are certain things that you can't even tell a counselor, but both of you know what the issue is. I remember Pastor used to talk about an issue where a couple will come to his office, they will talk and talk, they will still not resolve the issue.
That's right.
One day, Pastor said,
after several hours of talking, I said, come. I mean, this time, their family were even there that day. I stood up, I said, sorry, there's more to all these things. You guys, how many times you have sex in a week? Hey, the husband said that is it. Then I said, wow. Then the guy stood up with so much anger, aggression, and began to talk about his wife's nonchalant attitude towards sex. And he was saying it, he was vibrating. And I tapped one of the elderly person from either of their family that was starting to. I said, this is the real issue. You see, sometimes in Africa we don't talk about the real thing. So I think that there should be nothing that you can't talk about in your marriage. There should be nothing. The Bible says the two of them were naked and they were not ashamed. There should be nothing that you cannot talk to your wife about or talk to your husband about. So don't wait until things get so bad. The moment you start seeing that signal, remember the traffic light. The traffic light will give green, and green means go. From green, it doesn't just jump to red.
Yes.
It's going to give you the orange color to warn you that, look, I'm about to stop you. Now, that's how marriage too is. Everything don't crumble in one day.
Yes.
There will have been signals. Things will have been happening. But maybe you are not paying attention. Or you are just sweeping everything under the rug. Please don't do that. Make sure that those tiny things now, and find the best time to talk about these things. Don't talk about these things on Monday morning when all of you are in a hurry to go and defend your project at work or something. No, look for the best time. Take yourself out. Sometimes even within the house when you know you're calm. Talk about these things and tell yourself. You see, one time I remember.
Also, I want to say this. It's dropped in my spirit, and I feel this for someone. A lot of marriages crumble because you have too many people in your house. So there is no time to talk. The wife is cooking in the kitchen while the people in the house are having conversations with the husband. So the only time you have an alone time is when you are in your bed. Most of the time, both of you are tired. So there's really no time to talk. So sometimes you can take yourselves away from that crowdy atmosphere and just have an alone time with yourselves. And I bet you a fire will be rekindled, you know. Your fresh love for one another would spring up again. And if peradventure your house is crowded, you don't have money to go on vacation or take a break, why don't you tell the people to leave? You know, it's in Africa that everybody just has this entitled mentality that it's my brother's house, it's my sister's house. Tell them to give you a break.
Tell them that you want to fix your...
You don't even need to tell them you want to fix your home. Just tell them that you need some fresh hair.
I want to advise that new marriages shouldn't have so many people living with them.
Exactly.
You know, when we were going to get married, before we got married, I had so many young guys who were living in my house with me. And while we were getting closer to the wedding, I told all of them, including my blood brother, I said, look guys, I'm getting married. I want this house clean. I don't want anybody in this house. I mean, I told them that, sorry, I gave them enough time. And I said, look, I want myself and my wife will start living together for the first time. We want to get to know ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want one grown-up man to be inside the house telling my wife that she did not
wake up on time
to cook for him. I didn't want all those interference. I didn't want any lady to be in the house saying to my wife, no. So we started just two of us. Although, yeah, we have, our house was a little big and we have a maid, but we have a place that is very private for only us and our family, and so you need privacy.
Yes.
Some marriages were not allowed to grow privately. Some marriages never had that kind of privilege.
Some never had
Some
privacy.
marriages from the day one, as they were just coming back from the honeymoon, there is this brother, this uncle, this auntie, this nephew, this no.
In fact, some people, the moment you get married, they just bring someone to come and live with you instantly. There's no time for you to get to really know one another, and that thing
it doesn't
also
work like that.
affects
It
marriages.
doesn't work like that. You need to allow each other to bond. You know, I remember I once told my wife, I said, when the Bible says the two will be one, in the spirit they become one, just like that. But you see, the real oneness in the physical does not happen in one day.
Yes.
It's a process. So that bonding, which sometimes you don't even allow it to happen. Many couples never bonded. From the beginning, they never. And so, small problem now, everything is off.
And then it is easier when you are alone together in the house for you to resolve issues because there's no third party. But the moment there's a third party, you'll be careful not to talk, and so you bottle all of these things up and you spark. You know, but couples who get married and have time to know one another, they are alone, they resolve their issues. Yes, they can be angry at some point, but then they hold hands. Maybe she's cooking in the kitchen, the husband goes to her and says, yeah, ma binu, or okay, I'm sorry, and all of that. Then you will end it, you know. Or the wife sees that her husband is acting moody and she decides to just walk around the house, catwalk and all of that, and the man will just look at her and say, come here, why are we even angry? You know, somehow you resolve it. Over time, if you have been together 2 years, 3 years, you have already formed a bond. So then you can now bring people in to live with you, because
and
it
not
won't
crowd.
change anything.
See,
not
crowd.
though.
Depending on the size of your house, don't just bring crowd. You must have privacy. Because there are things that husband and wife talked about that they don't want any other person to hear it.
Yes.
Not even their kids. So you have to allow that marriage to be between two of you. This is very important. I'm very optimistic that you enjoy this episode. We are going to be doing this from time to time. We're happy that we're able to do this. I want to thank my wife for her time and for the support she's been giving. When we start thinking about this program, we know that it will really be sacrificial, you know. But thank God that all our crew are able to make the sacrifice. Thank God for you too.
I want to advise you to please subscribe to the WA YouTube channel. You see the subscribe button. Please click on it, and of course, invite your friends to always
Subscribe.
enjoy this webinar with us, and then also tell people about it. When you see the flyers, please share it with your friends, share it on your WhatsApp group. Let people know that we're going to be talking about how to make marriages work, because the devil is fighting families right now. If you are sensitive, you know that the devil does not want marriages to work, and so there are so many cases of divorce, especially in this generation. But there are still beautiful marriages out there. Ours is one of them, and a lot of people will say, oh, that's an exception. No, there are so many beautiful homes, so many beautiful Christian homes, so many happy marriages, and I'm sure you too can have one. God bless you.
Thank you. Before we end, I want you to also do something for us, because we need to know what you want us to talk about. We'd like you to go to the comments space and just tell us the kind of topic, the kind of things you'd like us to talk about.
Yes.
We'd like to talk about things that matters to you too, things that are relevant to you, things that you are dealing with. Then we will need your feedbacks, your email, your testimony, your prayer request, and we will like to be of help to you in any way we can.
Yes.
We thank you for watching. We thank all our friends from all across the world for watching. Thank you so much. We will be back again sometimes soon. God bless you. Bye.
God bless you. Bye.